Hey, now that the ET Max has officially been crashed, let's do a quick recap of what happened. Let's check out the build quality and durability of the ET Max, and let's find out how good it is to repair. What happened is that I was riding at about 35 miles an hour with the ET Max, brand new, and all of a sudden the tire instantly deflated on me, the valve sheared off, and I was on the ground. The reason for the crash is an improperly inflated tire. Now, admittedly, I did not check what the PSI was, and that is something that I should have done, so I take responsibility for that. But at the same time, every single manufacturer, in my opinion, should be sending out their EUCs with a properly inflated tire as long as it's not being airshipped. What could have happened is one of two situations. Number one, it was underinflated. And if that's the case, then the valve was possibly walked over and put excess pressure against the valve stem hole, and eventually the pressure caused it to just rip off. The other possibility is that the pressure was too high from the factory, and through riding on the road, the friction causes the air temperature inside the tire to increase, and eventually, because of the increased heat, it increases the pressure in there, and it bursts at the weakest point, which is the valve. In terms of build quality, the ET Max is absolutely through the roof. This is the best build quality I've ever seen in any Begode EUC ever made. As far as build quality is concerned, I would definitely be giving them an A+. Not a single screw was missing. All of the other QC stuff was done phenomenally. There was nothing out of place that it should have been. Checking out the motherboard area, this is the cleanest I've ever seen on any Begode EUC. It's extremely impressive. You can tell that they've really gone over the top in terms of trying to put together a product that is finally professional grade. It's really nice. In terms of durability, all of these parts are the necessary things that need to be replaced with the exception of the kickstand, and they're really just scuffed up. The only one that really took major damage is this piece right here, and it just kind of bent, and that's made out of some sort of aluminum alloy. In any case, the rest of the wheel is largely unscathed, and from a 35-mile-an-hour crash, that's really good. Now let's discuss the waterproofing on the ET Max. We have a sealed bearing here, which is very nice. I was very impressed with the seal on the bearing here. And then moving over to the motherboard area, we have a really nice gasket that is, it got a notch here on both ends, and you just push it in order to get it in there. And the batteries, they have like this gasket also that you have to like really shove these battery cables through. It's really tough for water to get through. We have a little bit of a quality control issue here where it just seems that when they were assembling it, it was just mashed in there. And so we have a few areas in here where it's just kind of smushed. And so that's going to affect the watertight integrity. Now, of course, it's not completely on here because I've disassembled the wheel. So don't worry about, this being not aligned. That's my doing. But in any case, we have just a little bit of smushed areas here. So I'm going to say, as far as waterproofing is concerned, paired with the really nice bearing that we have that seems to be very well waterproof, and this, I'm going to give them a B+ in that area. I don't think any company is truly deserving of getting an A rating on waterproofing unless they get the wheel actually waterproof certified following international standard, and Begode has yet to do that. I guess we got to finish this video quick because it's starting to rain and we have exposed parts now that we've talked about waterproofing. Let's talk about ease of maintenance now. Begode has in the last few years had a reputation for having very easy to work on wheels. It's very modular. It doesn't take that long to do maintenance on a Begode EUC. We've taken about 30 steps back in that regard. The ET Max is one of the hardest to work on EUCs that I've had to deal with. Now, I'm not saying that it's a mental challenge to do so. I'm saying that it just takes a really long time. I've only got this thing about 60% disassembled, and we have loads of screws. I'm talking probably like 50 plus screws so far, and I'm not even completely done disassembling it. Something that Begode has had issues with in the past that I've complained about is a gap in between the batteries. And they rectified that. They fixed it by having this bar here that goes in between it, and it actually sits flush in between there. It's very smooth. It's very nice. But just to secure it on there, we're talking 10 plus screws just for this. As far as connectors are concerned for the lighting, we have these little quick connectors, so you're able to just push it in. It's really nice. There's no soldering that you have to do. It's a very easy and simple task. So basically, in terms of complexity, it's not that complex of a machine to take apart. It's a pretty typical Begode wheel. The problem is the absurd amount of screws and the huge amount of time it's going to take. So what I'd recommend you do is use a drill. Set it to the absolute minimum amount of torque so you don't accidentally over torque it, or you can do the right thing and use a torque screwdriver, which is what they use in the factories. Trust me, it's going to save you a ton of time. With all that said, the ET Max scores a C- in terms of ease of maintenance. Not that complex, but way too many screws. Now, I'm sure some of you are still wondering how the ET Max rides. Well, I'm going to be saving most of that for the full review after all of the replacement parts get in and this thing is looking nice and new. But I'll give you a little primer. This thing is very, very heavy, but you don't really feel that once you start getting up to speed. About 25 miles an hour, and you're going to be not really feeling how heavy this wheel is. It does, in my opinion, feel a lot like riding a Master Pro. It's absurdly fast, but the off-the-line speed is just not quite there compared to some of its lighter weight competitors. People need to be asking themselves what their use case is on the ET Max. Are they going to be racing at high speed? Are they going to be commuting on the streets at high speed? If so, then the ET Max is for you. But if you're going to be a trail rider, a jumper, yeah, this can do it. It can do everything, but it's just not very good at those things because that's not what it's designed to do. However, the ET Max is an absolute speed machine, and I'm really looking forward to getting all the parts so this wheel is looking fresh and brand new again. I want to give a big thank you to Next Gen Mobility for providing this demo unit and really working with me after the post crash for this thing. Make sure that you check them out at nextgenmobility.org and make sure you use the coupon code WheelGoodTime for $25 off your next order. And of course, make sure you hit that subscribe button because it will automatically put you in for a drawing for a $150 credit for your next EUC. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.